Hello, this is Cityscape, our regular vodcast featuring people, place, and ideas that impact Livonia. I'm Dan West with the Livonia Chamber of Commerce. Today, we visit one of Livonia's dynamic religious leaders who is a pastor and a community advocate working out of one of Livonia's oldest churches. Rosedale Gardens Presbyterian Church was chartered in 1928 with 16 members at a time the first homes were being constructed in the Rosedale Gardens neighborhood along Plymouth Road between Merriman and Hubbard. The Rosedale Gardens Church congregation, with about 500 members, has been active in the secular community with the support of families in need and other nonprofit causes. The church is led by Reverend Kelly Whitlock, who has served the congregation since 2001 and is its pastor and head of staff since November 2016. She previously served as an associate minister at a church in Allen Park. The Wisconsin native grew up in Hawaii. She earned a bachelor's degree in social work from the University of Wisconsin. She later earned a master's degree in divinity from McCormick Theological Seminary in Chicago and a master's degree in clinical psychology from Madonna University. Pastor Whitlock has personally dedicated her efforts to the military and first responders. She was added to the Livonia Police Department staff as a chaplain earlier this year. And we are joined by Pastor Whitlock. Pastor, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Based on your academic studies, you were interested in social work. Talk about your interest in social work and how it evolved into religious service.
That's a great question. No one's ever asked me that before. I had an interest in social work and reaching out to people, kind of a counseling / community focus when I was young. And then towards the end of my college career, I was really active in a small church, and that church had a female pastor. I'd never encountered a female pastor before, and she told me about a program at McCormick Theological in Chicago that had both a dual master's degree in social work and divinity. So the long story short is I entered that program. 10 weeks in, the end of the first semester, I decided divinity and being a pastor was where I wanted to have my efforts, knowing that I could still be involved in the community with being a pastor. And working with community and our focus here at Rosedale, absolutely essential, working with nonprofits and having that social work background.
Was there talk about your childhood interest. What got you into social work to start with?
Yeah, so, well, you know, every kid wants to be, you know, something they don't end up becoming. So I was going to be a dancer, and that career ended. So went into college. Hawaii is a melting pot, and I was a part of relatives that had, so my family, my uncle married a Hawaiian woman, so my family all looked diverse, even though we carried the same last name. And our church that we attended there was heavily community orientated. Culture is a big part of Hawaii. So I don't remember not going with my dad as he filled his, you know, trunk with groceries, and we would deliver food to needy. And I was, you know, barely 4 or 5 years old. So I was kind of steeped in that culture. And as I grew up, I really felt the need to reach out into the community. I'm an only kid, and my parents' vocabulary as we were growing up is we go through life together, and we do that through church and community as well. So that's my background into all that.
You've been, speaking of community, you've been a Livonia resident for 22 years now.
Yeah.
Talk about your time living in the Livonia community and then being a part of this church congregation.
Yeah, so when I came here, they had not had a pastor that lived in the city for years. And it was really important to me that I live in the same community. When I was at Allen Park Presbyterian Church, we had a manse. I really wanted to own my own home. So when I came here, I wanted to make sure that I was close, but not next door close. When you live that close, you know, it's kind of a sea of interruptions. So I did want that family time. So being involved in Livonia was really important to me. Presbyterians really emphasize citizenship, to be a part of the community and culture. So for example, in our history, we have people that signed the Declaration of Independence. Also, the denomination is really good about going where natural disasters strike, being on the ground within 24 hours. So it's really important to me to be in the city that I served. There's something about bumping into people when you're grocery shopping and when you're hanging out in the community. And frankly, you know, Jesus tells us to go where the fish are, and the fish are predominantly here and in the surrounding communities. So I like to be where the people are that I serve.
Talk about your emphasis on the church community being involved in the secular community and why that's important.
Yeah, Clearly data showed about 20 years ago that across the board, churches that were looking at survival had to be involved in the community and had to kind of do the Jesus and go therefore. So what I did is started looking at the congregation, the original mission statement of the church, which had stayed for years and years, but that was that we were a neighborhood church. And our former interim head of staff kind of looked at that and said, what are we really doing in the neighborhood? And we found out not as much as we thought we were. So what he began, like starting at Grant Elementary School, we're part of Math Mission. We've been doing that since 2011. Now has grown since my time here, because I really felt it's important to serve the community. And as needs arise, we meet the needs. So many times church members themselves will come up and say, hey, I think we should be feeding people, or I think we need to open our doors to some nonprofits. Like for example, too, AA meets here in the mornings 3 times a week. And we developed an identity in 2015 called the Mission Station, where everything that comes in and out of campus. So we really prioritize going out in the community, working with nonprofits. Every Sunday in the bulletin, you open the bulletin and church members are made aware of nonprofits that need volunteers. So that's an every week event. And then we have designated days throughout the year and mission trips where we go local and then also out of state. But local's important because we kind of want to be a place where people know they can just show up, ring the bell, come in, have a time of prayer. We also we have a lot of people we have trained lay people called Stephen Ministers. There's myself, our commissioned pastor Kate, and then I have 2 directors of congregational care because we have found people are really suffering with mental illness and they need a place to go and be welcomed. So, and we definitely, too, I think we're bringing in people. And one of the things that has drawn people to Rosedale in the last 2 years is we came out pretty strongly with an inclusivity statement. And I would say that of the last, I'd say 2 years of membership, that's been really important to people, that we are welcome, that we don't just say we're welcome. We have a statement that's gone out that says all are welcome. And literally from the time you can walk up to the chancel, you are leading worship. So intergenerational worship every single week where you're seeing small children to teens to on up. I think is important too. So people call this place their church family, and I like that. I want the feel of a 50-member church in a 500-member church. That's important to me.
It's, I guess, how you make connection ultimately is if all people of all generations feel connected, they're going to stay and be engaged.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And obviously I see that's how you get the community involvement, the support of the congregation, to support the community causes as well. So, well, Pastor Kelly Whitlock, we thank you for your time today, spending some time with us.
Thank you.
And congratulations on all the good work your church has done throughout your tenure here. We wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate that. God bless you.
Yeah, so it's all the time we have for this edition of Cityscape. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.